So tell me, would you go to a cocktail party with robotic heads? Do you want your robotic heads on a platter? Every so often, I like just recording something that is, hold on a sec, touch fix of a camera, based on something just a little creepy. If you saw the horses and robots episode, I think I've titled this one in my head Robot Party or Robot Heads Party. I don't know. I think Robot Party will have to work. But before I forget, the latest episode of the Rogue Journal Club is up here on YouTube. I encourage you to check it out. Gina and I had fun with the gas stoves debacle. Well, not really the gas stoves debacle, but an article about gas stoves. So I suggest you check it out. But if you prefer audio format, it is also available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. So you can find it there. Also, if you're interested in it, I encourage you to go check it out. It was a fun article for us to review, and we got into some great commentary on that. So I suggest you go have a listen or have a watch on that front. But in the meantime, let's have a robot party, shall we? Strange news in science. A cocktail party of 3D printed robot heads. Human simulators that talk and listen to each other facilitate research on the head's acoustic properties for better designed audio devices. Imagine a cocktail. Okay, let me go down here. We'll go down here because that's the summary paragraph. Interestingly, with this, the of course, audio, headphones, hearing aids, all those kinds of things, understanding how the human head works with respect to the acoustics. So this comes from the Acoustical Society of America, another professional society I didn't know existed, and is reported in summary in Science Daily. Of course, linked for you in the description, so I encourage you to have fun. Go read this one. Because I think it might actually be, I actually haven't read this all the way through yet, so I don't know. So we will watch and react together. Imagine a cocktail party full of 3D printed humanoid robots listening and talking to each other. That seemingly sci-fi scene is the goal of the Augmented Listening Laboratory at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Realistic talking and listening heads are crucial for investigating how humans receive sound and developing audio technology. I'm going to add that to the list of things I thought I would never say or read. Realistic talking and listening heads. Robotic heads. Anyway, the team will describe the talking human head simulators in their presentation. 3D printed acoustic head simulators that talk and move. That's creepy. I'm sorry, that's just creepy. They didn't include a photo here, and I'm half tempted to go find it and find this article to see if they have a photo, or find the presentation to see if they have a photo of what these things look like. But if they actually look like human heads, on May 8th, Eastern U.S. in the Northwestern Ohio State room of the Chicago Marriott Downtown Magnificent Mile Hotel. The talk comes as part of the 184th meeting of the Acoustical Society of America running May 8th to May 12th. Okay, so actually it may become available somewhat soon, actually, because we're in the middle of that as of this recording. Algorithms used to improve human hearing must consider the acoustic properties of the human head. Well, sure, that makes sense. For example, hearing aids adjust the sound received at each ear to create a more realistic listening experience. For the adjustment to succeed, an algorithm must realistically assess the difference between the interval between the arrival time at each ear and the amplitude of the sound. Okay. So yeah, okay. I can see how the research would be really useful. So it's like if you got somebody who's going deaf and they're doing hearing aids and what have you, if it's receiving like a different amplitude of sound depending upon, how you're turning your head, that kind of jazz, I could actually see that being actually really, really useful in the sense that, you can fix the algorithm in the hearing aid to be able to, up the volume in a person's ear, if you will, depending upon the amplitude of the sound. If it's like, you're hearing something off this way or maybe off this way, you want it to, if it's coming in at an off angle and it's not directly to you, let's put it that way. Like you're hearing, you're talking to someone over here, but all of a sudden you want to hear something that's, being said over here in this conversation. Okay, maybe. So, it's important to study human listening in natural environments like cocktail parties where many conversations occur at once. Okay, so this is getting at what I was saying, although robot cocktail party. What? Simulating realistic scenarios for conversation enhancement often simulating realistic scenarios for for conservation enhancement often requires hours of recording with human subjects. The entire process can be exhausting for subjects, and it's extremely hard for a subject to remain perfectly still in between and during recordings, which affects the measured acoustic pressures, said Austin Liu, a student member of the team. Acoustic head simulators can overcome both drawbacks. They can be used to create large data sets with continuous recording and are guaranteed to remain still. Well, hold on though. I can understand the desire for, still, because it's a better measurement. But at the same time, wouldn't you want the measurement of someone who's, I don't know, twitchy? Wouldn't you want that to be able to capture that so you maybe could figure out how to model that into an algorithm? Unless it's low enough down in the capability that you still need to get the just turning but not shaking your head kind of thing. Pardon the strange thing there. But okay. Maybe, but I would be kind of like, maybe you do need the bigger variety of movements than you can get with a robotic head that's going to sit still. Since researchers have precise control over the simulated subject, they can adjust the parameters of the experiment and even set the machines in motion to simulate neck movements. I'm just having trouble envisioning this. The only thing I can come up with is it's like, pardon the expression, but it's the only way I can think of to express that. It's like having robotic heads on a platter. Is it me? Or does that sound about what they're doing here? It's like your robotic heads on a platter. Anyway, I have no idea. In a feat of design and engineering, the heads are 3D printed into components and assembled, enabling customization at low cost. The highly detailed ears are fitted with microphones along different parts to simulate both human hearing and Bluetooth earpieces. Okay. The talk box, or mouth-like loudspeaker, closely mimics human vocal cords. To facilitate motion, the researchers paid special attention to the neck. Because the 3D model of the head design is open source, other teams can download and modify it as needed. The diminishing cost of 3D printing means there is a relatively low barrier for fabricating these heads. Okay, so it's not a metal head, because most 3D printing is not metal. It's usually some kind of composite plastic. Or some kind of composite material or plastic or something like that. So, what am I picturing here? Picturing a loudspeaker for a mouth, 2 microphones in the ears that apparently are highly detailed to look like real human ears. Oh, and here's a question. What are you going to do if somebody if it affects the acoustics as much as somebody had an injured ear or torn off a chunk or something like that at some point? Doesn't that affect the acoustics? Anyway, tangential. I'm picturing like a composite head with microphones sticking out of the ears and a speaker in the mouth. That's kind of what I'm picturing. I would really love to know. I would really love to see a picture of what one of these things look like. And I may try and find it before I wrap up this video. Just because I'm like, I want to see what this looks like. I want to see the picture because what I'm envisioning in my head is probably nothing like what's actually going on. Because I'm literally thinking of a plastic head on a platter with a microphone, with microphones in the ears and a speaker in the mouth. And it's a very, very strange visual. Robotic heads on a platter. Robot party, here's your robotic heads on a platter. What? Pardon me, this is what you get sometimes for reacting to something you haven't fully read that you didn't read before you started recording. Okay. Our acoustic head project is the culmination of work done by many students with highly varied technical backgrounds, said Menen Mittal, which I don't know if I pronounced the name correctly, a graduate researcher with the team. Projects like this are due to interdisciplinary research that requires engineers to work with designers. The augmented listening laboratory has also created wheeled and pulley driven systems to simulate walking and more complex motion. Okay, so there's a lot of robotics involved here. I'm part of me's like, that's creepy, and part of me's like, that's really cool, actually, because I mean, you're doing theory could be really, really helpful for figuring out hearing aids, so folks can hear better. And there are some studies that have pointed to a relationship between deafness and incidences of Parkinson's or dementia or something like that. So that might actually be really useful in terms of long-term medicine. So I'd be really, really curious to how it goes. Now, I'm going to pause this recording real quick because I really, really want to see a picture if I can get it. So I'll be right back. Oh, I found it. I will include the link for you if you really want to see it. Oh my. Okay. Head simulators are 3D printed into components and assembled, enabling customization at low cost. Credit or augmented listening laboratory at University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Is it me or is this really creepy? I get the usefulness, don't get me wrong. I get although this kind of weird head on a platter. I mean, I keep coming back to it. It's head on a platter. Don't get me wrong, I really see the usefulness of it. I'm just really creeped out. Okay. Cool. Strange, but cool. Yeah, this was a talk being given at the conference for the Acoustical Society of America. Awesome. Extremely strange, but awesome. So like, this is ear part with a microphone in it, starting on assembly, because you can take the face off. I'm gonna add that again to a list of things I thought I would never say. Take the face off. I mean, I don't know if there's something about the design that the speaker has to be like that. Because frankly, I look at that and I see someone screaming. I mean, this is just aesthetic critiques. This is really just aesthetic critiques. I really hope they are really successful with the research, because I can see the usefulness, for deaf people. In particular, if you're designing hearing aids, I can really see that. Or people who are going deaf, I can really, really see the usefulness of it. But this is just bloody creepy. This is just bloody creepy. Okay. So tell me, would you go to a cocktail party with robotic heads? Do you want your robotic heads on a platter? Let me know what you think. Hit the like button on the way out the door, comment on the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, all that lovely good jazz. And here's your strange science for the week. Until next time, I'm Adrian. May you stay curious, everybody.